It's tournament time,
Let's go.
baby.
March Madness.
March Madness has begun. Welcome inside the Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage Studios.
It's Naz Madness today.
It's Naz Madness. Paul Nazigian on the show. You know, this is pretty special because last time you weren't.
Stop. Why?
You didn't make the show.
Why
so Naz,
I'm glad
actually,
we could patch things up.
That's right.
Naz was the one who called that out. I'm like, hey, Joe's gonna be a couple
There
minutes
was a lot
late.
of buzz behind the scenes, like, oh, is there some rift? Oh, do they hate each other? Is
No,
there
I
rivalry?
said I'm not coming on today unless Joe is here.
Yeah, right. So we can put all that to bed. Yeah, everything's fine. Yeah,
We're tight.
It's all good.
Yeah,
tight.
we'll have a Twitter poll later today about who is the best analyst on Liberty's campus, so you can be
Drive
the
a
judge
stake
of
between
that.
them, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. So great to have you guys all on. Wow, what a final regular season games for the Flames.
Yeah.
I almost was like, are they going to just hand it over on a platter? I think the last minute of this game, what was it, 23, 24 minutes long? Like that last minute was,
Well, yeah,
I mean,
the second half.
Yeah.
oh
Like,
my
the
gosh.
First half rolled.
Yeah,
Rolled.
there was like
First
7
half rolled.
total fouls in the
Yeah,
first half. In the
yeah.
second half, it's like we are tightening this thing up, and they called a lot of fouls, and it took. I mean, that game was like 2 hours and 15 minutes. It was long.
And it was tense.
Yeah.
I mean, which is exciting, and that's what you love of March basketball. But yeah, it just
I
my nerves
didn't
were
love that.
shot by the end of that one.
How many times something happened, and I just look over and Naz is like head on the desk, like, oh my gosh.
But
It was like tense and then untense.
Yeah.
Right.
And then tense again.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, we finally got
You
the
felt
tension.
like Liberty, like,
Yeah,
okay,
like,
they
got
pushed them out
this.
just a little, and then they let them right back
Yeah.
in.
Like
Then
a movie thriller, you have one of those things
Right.
at the end, and the twist you didn't expect was coming at the end. And
yeah,
just,
and then
was
that
great.
inbound pass, that was, with the steal. And,
Yes.
and
that was the most difficult.
Woo!
And
I was
that's
just
one of
like,
the,
no, what
one
are
of the
we
most
doing?
like underrated parts of I think a game you don't really think about when you think about like tight games and late, tournament time, all that stuff. It's like just getting the ball in.
Yes.
Like that's one of the things you don't really think about. I know coaches do, but for fans, like, okay, you can knock down your free throws. You got to like all those things. Like, can you just inbound the basketball? And it got a little dicey there at the end.
Okay,
Well dicey.
Matt Warner,
Yeah.
Naz, this has always been a little pet peeve of mine in basketball, okay, as a coach, right? And that is this. That exact topic.
Yeah.
And that is if coaches coach, hey, defense, set, everything, half court set, defense, it's got to play so hard, right? And my whole thing is, I think one of the most difficult things to do, especially when you put a guy on the ball, is to throw the ball in bounds. If I was a coach, I would practice guarding the inbounds throw on every possession and make it as difficult for them as they absolutely could.
Like
because
whole
it's
game.
like yes, no more whenever your ball's in bounds, that's a big deal to us. Yeah. It's a great opportunity to create a turnover.
Well,
because
some of the teams do that in this league.
because
We'll
it's
see
like
'em,
it's like, oh, all of a sudden you get down to the end of the game and then people decide to guard really hard because they have to, and then you
never
get
do it.
turnovers, right?
Yeah.
Why not make it super difficult? Like you ever see the dude throw the ball and the guy just sort of pushes off him a little bit, and
right.
toss in like, okay, let's get in our half court. I'm like, no. I'm going to face guard you everywhere, and I'm going to dude on the ball, and I'm going to make it extremely difficult.
Nice.
I'm surprised you don't see more of that.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're
you
right.
gonna tell Richie to do this?
Yeah.
I don't think Richie. Well, it's Richie's whole thing. Like for Liberty, they want to get the defense set. Like that's why you even saw. I saw somebody say, "Why aren't they putting guys on the lane during free throws? Like what are they doing?" But like because of Western Kentucky's tempo, they're like the fastest team or one of them in the country. Like they're like, no. We want to set our defense and not get beat scrambling. And but we see teams, FIU, UTEP are both teams that
they both get
like,
up,
they'll press,
pressure.
they'll do that, they try to do that, but they also give up a ton of points because they'll get burned.
Yeah, I mean, you throw the pressure of the game situation in, you take a desperation of the defense where they're going to gamble and reach and grab, and you're just hoping for a no call. Like all they have to do is create just a moment, a second of miscommunication between the inbounder and who's receiving it, and that's all it took.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw Kyle
Think about
Rode.
that one where a foul was called.
Yes.
That was very close.
Yeah.
That inbound to
That push in
Matheny,
the
who
back.
tried to stop, and he tried to reach out here. And it was
Yeah.
probably going to be a turnover, but they called that little shove.
He did shove him, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no more guy you'd have faith in bringing the ball in bounds than Kyle Rode.
Right.
Right.
But everybody's overplaying, everybody's up in the front court, and that little bit of hesitation, and then Shiloh's running and a little deflection, And it's.
But it has a double whammy too, because you as defense are taking chances.
Sure.
Offensively, you don't want to make that big mistake, so you're much more hesitant
in those moments.
In those moments,
right.
okay, like you think to yourself, man, if you had a guy cut back and go deep, you can throw the long ball. Well, guess what happens when that doesn't work out?
Yeah.
Then you look like
Right.
Oh,
I would say, though, kind of off your thing, going the other direction is, I think as a team, it would be good to at least work that in. It's like, say, Liberty, right? They're never going full court. You're never seeing that.
Yeah.
So then when it comes time when Liberty's trailing by 4 or 5, and then they have to do that, well, they never do that. So on my what I'm thinking is like, maybe you just mix that in every game a couple times here or there, just so you've done it. So then when you get into those crunch times, this isn't the first time you've done it in a game in a month. You know what I mean?
Well, look at us diving right into the action.
We're all in.
Little rundown of today's show. I don't know if you heard the big news, but on the gridiron, Liberty has secured 4 games with JMU. So we'll talk about what that means for the Flames football program moving forward, and how those two fan bases, I think they like invite each other to Thanksgiving dinner every it's really sweet to see them all come together. That'll be fun. Like we just started talking about tournament time. Liberty men's basketball will face UTEP. We'll talk about them as an opponent in that first round, in the quarterfinal round. Women are the number 2 seed in their tournament. So we'll break all of that down. But Naz, we're diving right into the men first.
Let's go, Naz. Do it.
What can you tell me about this matchup between Liberty and UTEP, a team they just recently saw?
I don't love it.
All right, well, we're not cutting that for the tease.
But it's as good as any.
That's the social media tease.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't love it.
I don't love it.
Now, here's a preview. I don't love it.
I don't love it, but here's the deal. It's as good as any other draw.
Right.
And that's the way the season's been. I mean, and look at Liberty with the exclusion of Jacksonville State. We split with everybody. So it's like, we beat them down there. The one in here. And I guess I was just trying to weigh out, like, is it because it was so fresh in our mind, like it was only a week ago?
Right.
And coming off a great performance, I think we sort of set ourselves up like we're going to see another great performance. And Liberty was a little bit flat, and they were just on. And so maybe it's some of that. But again, I go back to the fact that, like, that whole, from 3 on down the rest of the league, you're separated by a game or 2. Anybody can beat anybody. We beat them down there at our place on a struggling night for Liberty. So
Kyle Rhoda at one point.
Kyle Rhoda.
And Shiloh Robinson wasn't playing that game
That's
because
right.
he had just
So
gotten
it's
knocked
like
out.
you take all those factors in. We had a great performance Saturday night in the win over Western Kentucky. So I do feel good. Like we're going to be in the right frame of mind and get down there and make it a great game.
It is crazy though. Like there's not a team in the league where if we had drawn them, you'd be like,
oh, we're good.
Check mark, put a W there. Like literally from 1 to 9, be like, ooh, boy, they could give us some problems. Like, or they have given us problems.
Or have given us problems.
Even like go all the way down to FIU at the 9. You're like, well, we lost there and they gave us some issues. So
I think everybody down the line is thinking that.
Yeah.
Like they're thinking they could make a case. I mean, I'm talking even Sam Houston and Louisiana Tech going, man, Liberty got us. Like, I think everybody could make a case for, I don't want to play them because of X.
And what was crazy going into the game, CUSA sent out an email where if this happens, this happens. This person was, when it was like this
Liberty
long.
could have been fourth. It could have been 8.
Yeah.
Like any,
And that just shows, how this league is so even. I mean, I guess without if you take out La Tech and Sam Houston, who were more at the top of the league. And really when you look at the difference between them and some of the other teams is their road record was way better than anyone else's in the conference. So
throw that all out now. Neutral site.
Yeah,
that's what we've been saying
site.
For a month and a half, right?
Spring break in Huntsville, Alabama,
Spring
baby.
break capital
Let's
of the world.
go.
That's right. Yeah.
So Matt and Naz will be going down there.
You guys going? You guys
We're flying down in like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's
Have
right.
you been before?
I've never been to Huntsville, but I'm telling you, we're gonna find all the nightlife. We're gonna we're gonna hit up all right.
Like, you're gonna be like those 2 guys on the Saturday Night Live skit.
The Ninth of Roxbury. Yeah.
We're gonna find some couple dive-in places.
Right.
Naz, you broke the window again.
Yeah.
People are gonna be like, "Are you guys brothers?"
No.
No.
Yes. Yeah.
It should be fun. They didn't have a reporter. They didn't want, I know it's ridiculous, Joe Yack. I wanted to spend spring break in Huntsville.
So what's when you look at UTEP from the game before? That was what was it? 17, 19 turnovers to 6 assists.
61, 57. Yeah, a bunch of turnovers.
Yeah, a bunch of turnovers. So what's the best recipe for Liberty to win this game? What do they need to do?
Yeah, I mean, some of those were self-inflicted, and that's sort of why we were over there scratching our heads. Like, yes, I mean, they're a great team, and
first in the nation?
Yes, lead the nation in takeaways. But again, just watching it, like some of those, we just sort of tried to force passes through that were not typically, how we play. And then. So we got to clean up turnovers, and then we got to hit threes. Like there's no mess, there's no secret there. And then really, what really is in my nightmare is their penetration to the paint was unstoppable, and they had their guards were just getting deep into the paint and kind of rising up over. So I mean, but. Coach is going to have something for that. I know. Like, and everybody now, that's a great tournament time, whether it's conference tournaments or anything. Like the last 2 weeks behind the scenes, every coach, I don't care if you're Sam Houston, has been putting in new wrinkles. And because there's no secrets anymore. Everybody knows what everybody does. So they've kept a few things up their sleeve, a little late game situation, a new set play or something. So we'll see some of that. And I know Coach McKay's done the same thing. They're gonna they were there too. They saw the game, and they'll have something to kind of combat that. But those are the three things.
Yeah, that is the concern. I mean, UTEP in that game shot 60% in the second half. Like they got whatever they wanted, and it's those big. Corey Camper had a career game. Tay Hardy's one of the best scorers in the conference. Zid Powell's another big physical guard.
Yeah.
So like that's the problem, and that's what we say on a nightly basis. Like everybody in the league realizes small guards for Liberty. Yeah. Let's take advantage of that, and that's what they did in that game. But Liberty was just 7 of 25 from three. Like I think the key, if Liberty's going to win this game,
how many threes?
Double-digit threes, 12 or fewer turnovers.
Yeah.
I think those are the two numbers that for me, like those have to be there because you turn over 17 times, they got 23 points off those turnovers. Like those are the two numbers. Yeah, those are the two. And Liberty, really, up until this last 3-game stretch, they have been one of the best teams in the nation taking care of the basketball. The last 3 games, they have not been. So that is a concern.
Yeah, there was some sloppy turnovers Saturday too. There was a few of those that just shouldn't happen. I think there was another one earlier on an inbounds play that was really that wasn't very good. The thing that I did like from that game on Saturday was you can tell there is some. I shouldn't say hesitation is the right word, but Colin Porter's not going out of his way to shoot threes, and he had missed a couple.
Yeah.
But the one that he made, he got that one and he was wide open. I'm like, this is a big moment. And for him to really not hesitate and take that and drain that, I think that right there could be a big confidence builder for him.
Naz has been begging. Colin's got to look for a shot more.
Yeah.
And to his credit, you even go back to last year as a freshman. What do we remember about Colin Porter?
EKU.
Best game of his career. Semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
How about Kennesaw State in the championship 3 to tie it in the final seconds? He has been great in those big moments, but you're right. He's almost been selfless to a fault at times.
Right.
Yeah. One other factor, and this is kind of why I don't love the draw, is how games are refereed in conference tournaments is different. I mean, they let you get to another level of physicality, and so now you're facing a team who thrives on, if I can get away with a bump and a reach and a grab because they pressure so much, they can really cause more trouble for Liberty. So how the game is refereed is going to be big too.
Yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, when we were talking to Joe Golding, the UTEP head coach, and he said before the second meeting with Liberty, he's like, basically, we want to turn up the pressure even more. Yeah. We want to really crank it up, and they did. And so, to your point, that's the recipe. And if they're able to get away with more, I remember, I think it was Mike Anderson or somebody, the old coach, used to say, they're not going to call them all. They're not going to call all the fouls. So, all it takes is them not calling a few, and we turn it over and get an easy bucket, and it was all worth it. So,
Well, obviously, a lot of good teams in this conference, even better coaches. But what makes you believe and want Coach McKay leading your program into this conference tournament?
Oh, I mean, again, the past history. I mean, he's been there before, been in big time games. You can look at it's the 4 out of the year there, 4 out of 5, either winning a championship or in the championship
5 out of 6,
game.
they've been in the title game.
Yeah.
And again, it's the one thing, like, there's going to put some new wrinkles in, but like, they have a system, they believe in it. I mean, look at it. They beat one of the top 2 teams. They beat the top 2 teams at least once in this thing. Again, they're back there putting a game plan together, and it's going to be good. They know the guys. They're unified. Coach talks about being connected, and so whatever they come up with here's what we're going to do, starting with UTEP. I mean, we've watched it, and I believe in it. So.
I'm interested. I want to ask, and we're hopeful, like when we get down there, we're to catch up with all the teams at like their shoot-arounds and practices and stuff. I want to ask each coach, like, take yourself out of it. Who's one team, maybe not the favorite, who's one team that you could see just going on a run and knocking some people off and really messing this thing up for a lot of people? Because I do feel like as much as Liberty's been up and down, the ingredients they have in this team, like if they're knocking down threes, they could be that team. I mean, we saw them in Myrtle Beach at the beginning of the year, and I know that seems like forever ago, but they went through 3 really good teams in that to win that little event. So, like, they can do it.
Yeah, if you took everybody at their best, right? If everybody's at their best, then I think Liberty is one. Right.
Yeah.
If every team's playing their best, and we saw some of that throughout the year, then Liberty's very scary. Like, right?
Because they're knocking down threes.
We've heard almost every coach say that. Like, if they're hitting their shots, but you can say that about any team, right?
Take care of the ball.
Right, but I mean, at everybody's best, we beat a couple of the top teams, right? So if you look at that, and we're taking care of the basketball and hitting threes, like, I don't want to play Liberty.
And
like,
what do coaches also always tell us? Every coach we've talked to, they're like, they put us in situations no one else puts us in. With the guards, with so many shooters on the floor, they put our guys in situations we are not normally in. Sometimes they take the bigs right out of the game for the opposition. We've seen that at times this year where they've had to play smaller than they typically do. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like, I think Liberty hasn't lost or hasn't gone without a tournament win since 2017. So that was the year before Radford got him in the butt. So it's been this will be 7 years where they've at least won a game in the conference tournament. So they do have the history, and just seeing how big that was, I think, for Kyle Rode to finish with 31, for Shiloh Robinson, who's playing his best basketball of the season.
Yeah, he played well.
2 veterans that have been through it all, guys you trust. Like, to see them go into the tournament riding high, I think that's big for the Flames as well.
Yeah, big for the Flames, and that's another great thing about tournament play in this time of year is like seniors start to see their own mortality, like it's coming down, and you'll see some great performances.
Kyle Rhodes showed that on Saturday.
And throughout the tournament and the games, we're going to see some great ones because, like, you get this might be my last time on a basketball floor, and then you're going to get some surprising, like, you get some young freshmen or something that the lights are going to come on and they're going to make a name for themselves too. So, like, a lot of exciting basketball. But yeah, the thing Saturday, I mean, Kyle, unbelievable performance. But 2 things. The decision Coach McKay made to go with Shiloh.
A lot.
That was huge. Like I don't know if that sort of went under the radar, but like Kyle could not have continued to play the 5 and battle Faye and Howard. Right. It was grinding him. Like, he would not have had the energy to score 31. Right. And Coach went with Shiloh and man, Shiloh stepped up huge. I mean, yes, he scored and rebounded, but he defended.
Right.
But his defense on the 5s, like when they kept running those guys in and out, I mean, he really did a great job on those guys. So, yeah, 2 huge performances by the team.
And then he took another 3, and while he was taking that 3, I was like, don't do that. You had your 1. Take your 1.
Don't get greedy now.
Take your 1 and hit the showers with that 1 in your brain. Don't worry about the second one. You know that guy who hits that one, he shouldn't hit it, then you're like, don't take the second one.
I know a lot of people have been wondering, with Flame Central podcast listeners and viewers, Reese had his birthday party at Liberty Basketball Arena for the game.
Rowdy crew.
It was a rowdy crew. You guys had a little little practice action in the practice courts before.
Oh, it was great. Thanks to Robert Goodman and the whole crew setting it up for Reese and his crew. We had what was there, 8 of us, 8 kids there.
That's awesome.
Kyle Road came in before the game, visited with the kids.
And he told Reese, I'm going to score 31 for you.
The kid, no, it was one of those situations where Kyle was like, oh, and Reese, and they took the picture, and he was slowly walking out, and Reese turned with his crew, and he said, hey, Kyle. Kyle turned around like that, looked at him, he said, 31, baby. And then Kyle said, "Gotcha, kid."
It's kind of like that Mean Joe Green commercial.
He threw his practice jersey. He said, "Hey, kid, I got you." And then guess what happened? Thank you very much.
Well, can we bring Reese to Huntsville?
Take Emily's ticket.
I did see Reese bowling, and I sent you all these pictures, and you didn't even say thank you.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Of Reese courtside. He's bowling with his buddy, with the basketball and the pins. That was
cool. They had a great
Happy
time.
birthday, Reese.
They had a little party set up in the concourse area and got them all Sparky bucks, and it was then they got to high five.
Reese is a Pisces.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I don't know
like me, that's a fish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they got to high five. They got to high five all the players coming out, and my man Dustin was there walking us around, taking care of us. So it couldn't have had a better birthday
Great
party.
stuff.
Flames do it first class.
Yeah.
First class operation.
All right, what else do we have on Liberty Men before we
Before you go to
shift
that, you know who my sleeper team is in this tournament?
Who's that?
I'm calling it right now. Watch out for them. Western Kentucky. I'm telling you, when you watch that team play.
Here's the
I'm
thing.
like they are athletic, and they coach. He coaches those dudes hard.
Oh yeah,
he coaches like they are into it. And you think Kyle had to score 31 points in order to escape that thing at home,
right?
And that Western Kentucky team, that's an athletic, well-coached
the other
team.
way on that, because they've lost 4 straight. They've had a lot of when we talked, Coach, he would they've had some really brutal officiating that's cost them some games at the end of games. They've lost, I think it's now 6 games this year by 2 points.
Down?
I feel like in this 4-game losing streak, they're giving up 83 points a game. I almost feel like, I don't know. If he gets them together, you're right. When they're at their best, you talk about playing at their best, they score it better than anybody in the conference. Yeah. I love their guard, Don McHenry. You're right. If it's all coming together, I got the sense there's a lot of just frustration right now. Okay. It would not surprise me if they were upset. Even they're more talented than New Mexico State, who they get in the first round. Yeah. They are.
They're talented.
They've got some ball players, man. But
their heads aren't right now.
I don't know.
how would you feel if you're losing games by poor calls?
Coach Lutz
that can tear up a team.
And told in press conferences as well that he didn't like how they've been practicing over the last month, and he's trying to get them focused, and he's just not
Lack
sure.
of a player leader. And
we'll see. Maybe he's able to pull them together, and if so, they could. They're one of the teams that they could win this thing if it all comes together.
How about you? You got a sleeper?
I don't know.
You think La Tech's taking it?
La Tech's the favorite in my mind. They are the favorite. I think even though they lost at home to Sam Houston late in the year, I just think the 3 players they have in Bacho, Crawford and Talik Chavez, he's the underrated guy nobody talks about. He's shot the best 3-point percentage in league play this year. Those 3 are better than anybody else's 3.
Doesn't Crawford lead the conference in scoring?
I think he's second. He's the one with the goggles. Yeah. He's the one, and I think today the awards come out. He would be my vote for player of the year. He's only the 3rd player in Conference USA history to have 60 steals, 50 blocks.
Wow.
He does everything. He is really good. You were at the La Tech game, right? Yeah, really good. So they're my favorite to win it. Yeah. But you go Sam Houston, La Tech, UTEP, Western Kentucky, and even Liberties we talk about. Those are 5 teams that any of those I think could win it. Yeah. I think any of them could win it.
I think Middle Tennessee just keeps jumping out at me as far as
Tennessee.
And again, everybody's in the pack. Yeah. So, but they looked so bad early because of injuries, but I just think guys have had enough time in those new positions, and they've had enough time to gel down the stretch. They've won a bunch, and they've got great guard play, which it takes. But their big guy. Coleman Jones, I think, gives them an inside force that I just think if the pieces are
Here's the interesting thing, right? Because they're the 7, they play La Tech. They played Saturday. So they're turning around, and you play Saturday, you turn around, play again
and played them pretty
Wednesday.
well. Played them really well.
Wow.
Does it start Tuesday or Wednesday?
Tuesday is the 8-9 game, Jacksonville State FIU. Then Wednesday, you get the 1 and the 2 seeds playing. So you're right. La Tech's my favorite. But Middle Tennessee on a quick turnaround, they see him again. And if you're looking for like explosive players, you talk about Justin Porter, their point guard. He scored 41 this year, like the most of any player in the league. Like they have the guys where if it all came together, they do match up well.
Elias King, I mean, athletic.
Yeah, so that would be, if you're looking for like what's one just like the big upset, that could be the big upset if it comes together for Middle Tennessee.
What do we do about this? What do we do about
Joe
this?
with the really hard-hitting questions
I like
this morning.
Yeah, no, we're going.
Hey, it's
we're
tournament time.
We're
Yeah.
tournament time, but we're going in a totally different direction.
Okay, here we go.
And we're going
Emily,
Just
is it
take you a
okay?
compliment, Joe.
Emily, is it okay if I go in a totally different direction right now? What do you guys? I just found out this morning because I wasn't tuned in yesterday to the LSU women's.
Oh, okay.
South Carolina thing.
I thought you were going to go with the Filipowski trip. I thought you were.
Oh, that's don't get me started, Matthew. Don't you?
missed it. Well, you were on vacation.
You were here for.
Joe did a whole segment.
Did you hear it?
On
No,
this
I
court
don't
storming?
listen to
And
it.
it got intense. But
Okay, so are you going women? Because can I wrap up?
Wrap up, dude.
Okay.
I'm sorry, man. I don't want to step on your toes.
Like Matt just said, please tell everyone where we can listen or watch.
Okay.
We'll listen to Alan York for the Liberty game on Thursday. Tip-off is what, 5:30?
6:30 Eastern.
6:30 Eastern, okay. And
So
then,
Naz and I will be doing 5 games in 3 days, starting Tuesday night with Jacksonville State FIU.
Wait, you're doing the
8-night game.
games? You're actually
Oh,
doing
yeah, we're doing
I
all-
thought you were just going down there like
why
you
do you
did.
think I'm so upset, Joe?
No,
I thought it was like a Fiesta Bowl thing.
Yeah.
Like you're going
No.
down
We're doing all the
You're
games.
doing the
No,
games.
they are.
Yeah.
Call.
So,
I'm locked in now.
So ESPN
Oh my
Plus.
gosh,
Oh my
welcome to the
God.
show, Joe.
Yeah.
I am locked in.
ESPN Plus for all of them. So 5 games in 3 days, and it's
you
gonna
might
be fun.
get
man.
your hot
Which
your hot
also
tea
don't
ready.
forget,
You got to compete.
on the women's side, Kelly Deo will be calling all the games, and so tune into those as well. Noah Frary as well. So so we're doing the whole deal. So hopefully
That's
it's
a lot of fun,
hopefully it's a lot
Oh
of
my
fun.
gosh, Thursday. I'm stressed.
Ames have to do the TV show without me this week, so
Yeah, it's going to be
prayers
a
up for
hot
Emily.
mess.
Yeah, really prayers up for everybody else. That's more what I'm worried about.
Hey, anything's better than show 2 weeks ago. Hey, okay, so we're shifting gears now to Joe's topic, women's basketball.
Yeah, what'd you think about
Let's just start with CUSA women before he gets on his rant.
Good.
Liberty finished second in the conference for the regular season. The Lady Flames will take on Western Kentucky on Wednesday that would be 4 p.m., I believe, because it's 3 p.m., so, right? 4 p.m. here, I think, Huntsville.
Yes, 3
Okay.
p.m. 3 p.m.
Okay, so Western Kentucky, correct me if I'm wrong, we're doing this a little early, so I didn't get to do as much research, but I'm pretty sure the Lady Flames.
You were just
Put a
like the
beat down.
situation. Well, just the situation we just talked about with Middle Tennessee and La Tech. That's what Liberty, Western Kentucky are in. Liberty played at Western Kentucky on Saturday. They won that game 84-77, and now you turn around and play them again,
play the
4
same.
days later or whatever it is. That'll be.
I do have a love-hate relationship with that because I feel like the team that wins first, usually
Liberty lost to Western Kentucky at home way back at the beginning, first conference game of the year. That was a 2-point loss, a game they should not have lost.
Yeah.
But they've obviously gotten a lot better
but
since then.
the Lady Flames are
They're balling.
fire right now.
They're balling.
I mean,
Listen, 11-5. I want that rematch with Middle Tennessee in the championship.
Yeah, so
I
do
want
I.
it.
Yeah.
I want it.
Want some, get some.
Let's go.
So Liberty faces Western Kentucky. They will play the winner of FIU, New Mexico State, on Friday. So.
Yeah, I mean it's great. They get the 2 seed, but again, you can't breeze over the fact that they had a rocky start.
Yeah.
And man, what a credit to Coach Green, the staff, and the girls for not just sort of. I mean, that's hard. Like expectations, and then you stumble out of the gate, and man, they just fought and just grinded, and then it started clicking. And man, the last few weeks have
And
been
like
Best ball right
beautiful,
and
beautiful
Gary
basketball.
Green put it to him with that
Non-con
non-conference
schedule?
Like he's like,
What?
hey, okay, we're gonna grow up.
That's right. And
Yeah,
it paid
and
off.
it paid off.
You got to go
It
through
paid
that.
off.
And not only did you have that non-con schedule, but we had Coach Green on. If you didn't hear that conversation, listen to last week. But the injuries and just like how that can deflate a team instantly when you're losing, and the fact that they were able to turn this season around. And like Matt said, I want to see that Middle Tennessee Liberty matchup. Can you imagine? I mean, Put me in, Coach.
Excited for them. Yeah.
What do you want to rant about before
I'm not ranting about it. I just want to know what their opinion was on the LSU.
I didn't
South
see
Carolina
it. I just heard and read
game.
about it. So I didn't actually see the scuffle.
Did you see it?
I did. Yes.
Yeah. What did you?
The brother jumping over the
one guy
scorer's
jumping.
table.
What is that?
I don't know what you're gonna do to a bunch of chicks on, but okay.
Yeah, you might be on the losing end, man. Some of those girls, you want to tangle with them.
She was so much taller than him. I'm like, no. Go back to your seat.
Didn't they say like LSU is only gonna have like 6 players or something because you leave the bench?
Yeah,
Is that right?
It's
5 on one side, I think LSU, and 6 on the South Carolina side. Just because when you come on the floor from the bench, automatic game suspension.
Wow, that is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Girls,
I mean, hey, consequences.
Yeah. I mean, whoever the 16 and 15 seeds or whatever that face them are just like, this is
licking their chops.
You just gave them a little juice, you know what I mean? Yeah.
And with the parity in college basketball now, it's not like it can't be done.
Yeah.
You know, like those 15, 16 seeds can beat. If you're down like that, they got a chance.
Which I would be curious to see. I haven't looked at the women's like bracketology stuff to know like I don't know what Middle Tennessee would be seeded at coming out of CUSA, or if Liberty were to beat them, that could be Liberty.
That could be the Flames.
That could be like if Liberty were to upset Middle Tennessee, very well could be them facing LSU in the first round.
Yeah, something like
what about undefeated South Carolina?
Yeah.
Kerry Green brings in a squad.
Get those Krispy Kremes ready.
Get the double up on the Krispy Kremes. That would be unbelievable.
How cool would that be?
Yeah, but no, just the incident itself, you just hate seeing it. And both those teams play. I mean, they're great teams. And they play on emotion. They play that way with some trash talk and trying to
sort of that bad blood kind of.
But you hate seeing that, and you hope that all these tournaments that are going on, you want to see great basketball and not flagrant fouls or technical fouls and things like that. That just mars great performances.
Some great basketball was that Iowa-Nebraska game going into OT with Caitlin Clark. That was
How about we were talking about? I know we're getting a little off topic here, but even like we're keeping an eye on the A-Sun tournament.
Yeah,
having it like that was every game was like one possession.
Who won
Stetson
the
ended up
A-Sun
winning.
again? Oh,
They got
Stetson.
was it 41 from Blackman, their guard in that game. So like really cool for them.
Remind me the Stetson head coach.
Donnie Jones.
Great
guy.
Yeah, what a great guy.
Yeah.
Man, I
Longwood
miss
punched
his
the ticket.
Yeah,
Longwood's back
from the number 5 seed.
Yeah.
That's another thing. So as of last night, you guys probably saw this. So 4 conference tournaments had finished. Not one number 1 seed had advanced.
Wow.
It's very similar to the
Let's
JPL
keep that trend
playoff.
going in the
That's
series.
right. That's right.
Let's keep that trend going. All right, we're wrapping up the hardwood talk. We're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Tournament time. So excited. I mean, I get so.
This is it.
It's the best time of year.
It is.
I am on. You know my emotional roller coaster. It just goes up like 50 feet during this
and then
time
a
of year.
huge
And
drop-off.
yeah, I'm gonna have to call my
We all have
therapist
to pick
and
up the
pre-book an
Don't
appointment.
have to pick up the pieces.
No, tell Jason to go to Hawaii for the next month or
Whatever.
something like that.
Okay, so we're gonna shift gears to the gridiron. The Flames are playing JMU. All you trash talkers out there are saying, the Flames don't play anyone.
Where's my phone? I'm going to start tweeting some anti-JMU stuff right now.
It's like the trash talk. Finally, the Flames are playing a real opponent. So this will be exciting. I have a feeling we're not going to be on the call for this one, but I'm just going to put the good vibes out there that we will, maybe. But what does this do for Liberty scheduling a series
Let me
with
just lay it out
JMU?
real fast. Starting 25-26. So 25 at Liberty, 26 at JMU. Then you go 2031, 2032, and they already had scheduled 2033, 34. So you play them 6 times in 10 years.
Nice.
So there you go.
Yeah.
What does that do for Liberty's football program?
I think you go all the way back to, maybe the biggest win a long time ago for Liberty was the FCS playoff game against JMU. So on the road at JMU, I was actually at that game. And so, it started there, right? And then you've seen both programs build within the state. Mm-hmm. And so obviously it is sort of the elephant in the room. When you look at Virginia Tech, JMU, Liberty, that's always discussed. What's the best team? I mean, Old Dominion used to be in the conversation, but they're not anymore. But that who's the best team in Virginia? And what JMU has done with their program and with their fan base and how serious they are taking football and the type of players they're getting is that this is, I think, going to become the rivalry, right? To be able to say, like, obviously Virginia Tech is a totally different thing. But for Liberty, this rivalry with JMU is going to determine a lot of things, not only on the football field, but also in recruiting. And I think these two schools are going to be chasing a lot of the same kids.
Right.
And I think these games and what both programs are run very well. And they're both trying to do it the right way, and they're both trying to play at the highest level. And so, I mean, you look at JMU, they were undefeated all the way to the App State game last, and they lost in like triple overtime or whatever it was. So, I just think like what you're talking about, Emily, from the aspect of, okay, who do you really play, right? That's a problem. I mean, let's be honest here. That is a little bit of a problem. Liberty is going to continue to rise. The program's continue to get better. What in Conference USA is going to be able to keep pace with that? Are there some teams potentially? Absolutely, right? There are some, okay? But overall, it's going to be tough. Liberty should be clearly the dominant team within Conference USA. But when you add that JMU game in and the local rivalry to it, man, I just really think it's going to do a lot for both programs, and you're going to get an extraordinary amount of hype around it, and that's going to be a lot of fun.
I think like these are two of the great stories in FBS because both of these programs made the jump and did not skip a beat.
Right.
Like in fact, got better. In Liberty's case, they were like a good FCS program, but only made the playoffs that one time. They beat JMU. They've gotten even better since making the move to FBS. So they've risen. The other thing is, this is what college football needs and what we're losing more and more. Because even the regional conference rivalries aren't what they used to be in a lot of cases. I mean, think about for Liberty, like you're traveling all over from New Mexico State to Miami. Like think about even, Big Ten now with Oregon, and like, it's like you're losing what used to be those regional rivalries even within conference play. So
like who is it?
Right.
Like who is it right now for Liberty?
I mean, so like to be able to find something like that outside of the conference, huge props to Liberty and JMU for like being like, let's do this. Let's do this. Because these are the games the fans all want. So good for them to be able to put this together.
Yeah, and what I love about it is like, the trash talk is fun and the rivalry and the bragging rights. But I just love the fact that you have two teams now. Like, I'm tired of looking down the top 25 and seeing all the same names from the vote. How exciting is it, right? And again, I know it's a rivalry, but I loved seeing JMU and us in the top 25. And, for both programs to advance, like you said, and like that's what I like seeing, especially with the expanded bowl playoffs now. Like, there's more of a chance of having sort of those, whatever you want to call them, mid-major. We call them mid-majors in basketball. But to see some of them on the national stage now, year after year, I love it. I'm tired of seeing all the same old names, and this is great. So I hope it's Liberty. I think it's going to be Liberty. Maybe it'll be both. But if it's not us, if it's
I mean, can you imagine? Like that has the potential to be. We always talk about this. Could that be a potential college game day down the road? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, maybe.
You know what I mean? Like they've had kind of a love fest with JMU over the years. But like, potentially could be.
The thing I like most about it is the fact that these two fan bases the last few years have been like at each other on social media. No, we're better because we beat this team by this many points and you lost to them by this many points. Put the trash talk away. Now you get to face head on, and now you get to decide who is the better team, who's going to win those ball games, instead of just, I beat this person, you beat that person, yada yada, and like the battle on social media. Now it's like, put your cell phones away and come to Williams Stadium, baby.
Put on a helmet and
right.
The problem, the thing to your point, Naz, what you're saying there about seeing new teams in the top 25. The thing that I don't like about it is that now you're going to see your Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, the teams who hold the biggest bag in NIL, right, are going to be at the top every single year. There will be no change there, right? Now, what the transfer portal does is, guess what? If there's a, 5-star quarterback who's getting ready to be the starter at Alabama, and then Alabama goes out and they pay, last year's, for example, Alabama, don't verify this, but Alabama take a kid like Drake May at UNC. UNC had to pull out all the stops in order to keep Drake May there. So let's say Alabama pays Drake May $4 million and says, come to Alabama. Well, guess what? That 5-star kid who now thought he was going to be the starter, he's out, which allows a team like a Liberty to get a Malik Willis, or Malik isn't a great example for that, but but to be able to get some of these better players that allows that next group to come up. But it's still difficult. I think there's going to be such a difference between that top 5 or 6 compared to the rest of everybody.
All right, let's give our JMU our post-game celebration that Coach Chadwell and Chad Scott. It's Duke, the Duke dog, Dookie dog.
Yeah.
Stanley has to be it. Stanley in the locker room.
Yeah, but they're always setting the things on fire and stuff.
Oh, no, don't set Stanley on fire.
So you may not want to send your dog in there.
No.
Yeah.
Probably not a great idea.
Probably not a great idea.
No. Stanley is just going to be in there eating all the post-game meals.
All
right, guys, have so much fun in Huntsville, Alabama. Can't wait.
Listen, I do want to say
games.
this. I'm going to try to slip a few things in on the broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things I was thinking about was, say a guy, airballs a shot or whatever. Yeah. I'm going to try to see if I can slip in hey, if you don't want to shoot an air ball during the home buying process, reach out to Joe Yock and his gang at Alcova Mortgage. What do you think that would that be okay? Could we do that?
I think it would flow within the broadcast.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want it to be too obvious.
Yeah, don't be too obvious, but I think it would flow within the broadcast.
But okay.
I would really appreciate if you do that.
All right, haven't cleared that with anyone.
Oh, by the way, and I don't know if I mentioned this last week or not, but by the way, we had a little purchase at Alcova Mortgage. We got ourselves the.
You did say this.
Did I say it last week?
We talked about the flamethrower.
Okay, well the flamethrower's back. My fault.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Did you see it? But no, hey.
Joe's going to Huntsville.
Hey, we're shooting a first video today.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Oh,
yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Hopefully, Joe's
25 feet of fiery flames being thrown.
This is
pure gasoline.
This should be against the law. This should be against the law. Well, if your house burned down and you want to buy another one, go to alcova.com.
If you had a flamethrower accident,
or if they're shooting bricks down there in Huntsville, we'll be like, that's enough bricks to build a house. Hey, and if you're thinking of building a house,
Look at Naz.
Hey, Naz. Yeah.
What a natural.
See?
What a natural. Hey, and if you want to be a part of the show, you can do so. flamecentral@liberty.edu. Send in your concerns about Joe Yock's flamethrower, your questions, comments. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Hopefully, we're back here next Monday talking about Liberty.
You gotta dig.
NCAA tournament.
You gotta dig deep, baby. Let's go.
Okay, Joe is not doing the pregame speech. Thanks for coming on, Naz. Safe travels.
Naz.
Okay. For Naz, Joe, and Matt, I'm Emily. We'll see you next week.